What's good, everybody? I hope that your new year is working out the way that you are working it. So if you're putting in the work, I hope that you're so far reaping the benefits. If you're one of those who do New Year's resolutions, I hope that it's going well and you have not given up on them yet. So thank you for checking out this episode. I really appreciate it. So I intentionally made a provocative title, so if you tuned in for that, bear with me, and I think I think this will make sense in a little bit. So I was definitely an admirer of the late great Kevin Samuels. I thought that he said some things that needed to be said. I thought that he opened up a lot of people's eyes and had conversations that I think that a lot of people were kind of skittish or scared to have, and I appreciate him for having that. I entered this whole dating scene during a little bit after the pandemic, when Kevin was kind of, in the heyday of his ascension there. But I often have said that I agreed with about, turn the heat up in here, about 85% of his content. And one of the things that he said that I did not agree with and really kind of didn't appreciate was the fact that he kind of emphasized the fact that women, their happiness was not important. Now, this probably could have been fleshed out a little bit more and all that. We'll get to that in a minute. But, recently, just the other day, I saw somebody else saying the same thing, and I've seen this person say it before. So I want to address this whole happiness in marriage idea. So let's cut to the clip here.
I think that's all I can think of right now.
Okay. Derek Gaines, the legend, said, if you love God so much, then why come you didn't stay married? You didn't take a vow after all. Sounds like it. You didn't take a vow after all. Sounds like it got worse and you left. So how can we take you seriously? You keep no vows.
I was in that marriage for 13 years. I was in it long enough. We've been through therapy. We try to work things out. It didn't work. So at the end of the day, we all wanted to be happy. So that's what we did. We co-parent very well with our daughter.
Very modern to think that marriage is about happiness. Ma'am, do you think that the family tree that built up your family, do you think it was built on happiness? Do you think everyone who stayed together so that you could live, do you think that they all were happy? This is one of the biggest reasons why the divorce rate in the Black community is so high. Who the hell told you guys that you're supposed to be happy? You'd be lucky in today's day for stability and safety and hope that to get that. But how do you measure happiness? How do you know when that's being accomplished truly? Or is that not something that's fleeting?
Pay a phone bill in 3 months.
Being accomplished truly? Or is that not something that's fleeting?
So we see this brother here, who Don Lexi, who I watched a few of his videos. He's constantly, in my estimation, just creating content off of Miss Kendra G's content, which, I don't like steal. I personally don't like stealing all people's content and just doing these reaction videos. I mean, I think eventually you got to come up with your own content. But regardless, I'm not trying to, trying to throw any kind of shade or anything. I'm just bringing out a simple point here, is that I simply disagree with this sentiment that a woman's happiness is irrelevant in a marriage. I mean, this is just crazy. I have a daughter, and if she came to me saying that she was just unhappy and some man was not fulfilling all of her goals, needs, and desires in a relationship, and she was just sticking around for the kids and for the, I would have a completely different conversation with her besides loyalty and duty. Yes, I believe that loyalty and duty is essential. You're talking to a guy who wishes he would have stuck by that. Or you're listening to a guy who wishes that. But that doesn't mean that a woman's happiness is irrelevant and that the only reason that she's getting married is to be is for duty, sacrifice, and betterment of the family. And I agree with all that. You know, we have to be able to find this line between doing what's best for the family and understanding that happiness, which is a temporary feeling, can be fleeting and can be up one day, down the next, back up, this, that, and the other. It's a roller. Sometimes I used to refer to it as a roller coaster. My friend and I would often talk. I'm like, oh man, I'm tired of being on this roller coaster. I want to be happy in this up place all the time. Nobody likes the lows and the valleys. Nobody likes that. I get that. But to say that it's irrelevant and who promised you this and all this kind of crazy stuff, I think that is the wrong message. I think that's the wrong way. I think that's the wrong way of going about this. And you're never going to get women to take you seriously. This is the problem that a lot of women have with the red pill and manosphere community, is that you've got these guys up here saying this stuff who just repeating talking points without any type of critical thinking. Would you want your mother to stay in a miserable marriage? Would you want your daughter to stay in a miserable marriage? The answer is probably going to be no. But you know, I would want them to stay for duty, sense, and honor, and all this kind of stuff. Well, listen, I'm not going to get into the statistics and the psychology of people who grow up in these type of dysfunctional families and all that kind of stuff. You guys can read all that on your own. You know, sometimes the literature is all over the place, but I would not recommend it, and I would not suggest it for anyone, for yourself, for the children, and all that kind of stuff. Now, is there a difference between simping, doing everything that this woman says, constantly walking on eggshells in your home because your woman is unhappy? You got to be able to find that masculine presence, be able to find that happy medium, and say, listen, you know, this is what it is, and this is where we're gonna go, and you should not be quote unquote swayed by someone's emotions. But this idea that we ought to just disregard it and the family ought to come first and this and that, nobody's gonna listen to that. You got to understand, you got to be able to read the room, quote unquote, and understand that this day and time, nobody's going to listen to that. They would rather be single by themselves, buying their own homes, drinking their box wine with dogs and cats than suffer with a man in silence. That's just the way that it is. It's not going back. So my message to men is, and it has been, to level up, to become the best version of yourself, and to get yourself together. You know, gone are the days of you know, just kind of just sitting back in silence. And we can talk about, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on out here about AI taking jobs and people coming back to the table and all this kind of stuff. We can have those conversations, but understand this: a woman who's got means, a woman who's got her head on her shoulders, who's doing some things, is not just going to be partnered up with somebody just to have someone. So you can forget that craziness. So, you know, why this is a perpetual thing that I've seen far too many YouTubers saying and all that. And the problem isn't that them saying it, but it's the people who are co-signing this kind of foolishness. And you got to stop co-signing any type of foolishness. Again, the best method to improve your chances of getting a lady, with the ladies, keeping a lady, is to improve yourself. Can't do anything about, you know, your physical features, but you can work out. You can eat right. You can move up the social hierarchy by getting a better job and becoming the best version of yourself, becoming more knowledgeable, using humor and being funny and all this kind of stuff, right? All these different things that women are attracted to. But this idea that you ought to just disregard a woman's happiness and tell a woman that her happiness is irrelevant and you ought to stay with these kids and this and that, this is the stuff that causes mental breaks, and people you know, can't take it and all this kind of stuff, right? They just start, you know, deleting their kids, you know. So you gotta be, you know, we gotta watch what we're saying, and you know, think long and clear about this, right? Stop repeating talking points because somebody else said it. And I'm not saying that this guy Thon Lexi who said it is simply saying it because Kevin Samuels said it. But you got to be critical in your thinking, and you know, again, I watched some of Thon's stuff, not a lot of it, because again, I think that a lot of times he's just, you know, using other people's stuff to do reaction videos to, which, you know, okay, you can't knock the hustle, but on the other side is that, you know, and he's trying to clean up his image. Before he was doing stuff with his hoodie on and all this. Now he's wearing suits and stuff, which, okay, you know, we show improvement all the way around. But I think that this message, and I didn't watch the fullness of the video, because once he started saying that, I'm like, oh, this is crazy. I'm not even gonna bother listening to the rest of it. So yes, so ladies, your happiness is important. Let me just say that. I know I did the bait and switch with the with the title here, but your happiness is important, and understand that your happiness should not come from another person or externally. That I think that we need to have serious conversations about. If you are looking to get married to make yourself happy, you're getting married for the wrong reason. If you want to partner up because that would make you happy, you're partnering up for the wrong reason. If you want somebody to move in with you because you're unhappy or because you're lonely, then you're doing all that for the wrong reason. I could completely 100% agree with with that type of thinking and those assessments. Don't do that. Don't do all that kind of stuff for the wrong reason. However, your happiness has to come from internal, intrinsic value, that you have self-worth, that you love yourself, that you have these different accomplishments, whatever. That's where your happiness should come from first and foremost. So forget about trying to be in a relationship because you're unhappy. Work on yourself and become happy. With yourself in your career or whatever it is. You want to be a housewife and just want to, whatever, fold clothes, be a housewife, be the nurturer. That's fine too. Whatever makes you happy, do that. And to the men out there, again, I'm going to say, you know, don't be in this mindset that you have to hang on her every whim and you have to walk around your own house on eggshells because she's unhappy. And this whole happy wife, happy life, and, you know, my spouse is happy. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. No, forget all that, man. Your happiness matters too, and I'm not going to be walking around here on eggshells and, you know, this, that, and the other because you're unhappy, and I gotta, you know, drain my bank account according to buying you gifts and buying you this and that and the other to keep you happy, to keep you. No. Just like the days are long gone of women suffering through their happiness, the days will all to be long gone of men draining their bank accounts and moving mountains just to make sure that this woman has a smile on her face so you can get some sugar box later on that night. You know, we all got to make better decisions. We all got to grow up mentally, and this stuff has got to change. It's got to change. So I just want to drop this and say, yes, ladies, your happiness matters, but there is a limit to it, and that limit is at my own personal expense, or just, I would say to anyone else's, to any other man's personal expense and experience. I was watching a clip of what's her name? If I can find it, I'll put it up here. Princella also saying this now, that where she thinks that Princella, the queen maker, who's another YouTuber out here in these streets who dates women, who's saying, I gotta, you know, expend all this energy to be worshiping at the feet of your altar, at the altar of your feet or whatever. No. This is we're in this together, and you know, I am responsible for my own internal satisfaction and happiness, and I got to do things and go places and establish parameters and things that are going to make me happy, and therefore when I'm happy and I'm content, I am able to give, I am able to pour out, I am able to exude happiness in a good place, in a good mental headspace, so I can make sure that everyone else is happy. But this idea that I just gotta you know, my bank account's going down, I can never fulfill my hobbies because I have to entertain you 24 hours a day. No. No. So you know, I'm hoping that I'm stating this in the best way that is possible. Your happiness matters, and yeah, this whole this whole, a woman's happiness, and it's about family and duty. And I believe that. I believe that we ought to get married. And I've talked about this in other videos about partnering up, getting married or whatever, for the right reason. What's the purpose of us getting married? What are we hoping to gain, to achieve by this? Is it a relationship? Is it a partnership? Well, before you do that, you ought to make sure that you are intrinsically happy. Is it to propagate family? Is it to propagate culture, which I believe in? Then we ought to make sure that is a primary goal and objective. So we got to do all that, man. We got to do all that. So, we got to figure out what we're doing, why we're doing it, and who we're going to do it with. And if that person who you are not doing it with is abusive or non-communicative and doesn't meet your goals, then you gotta move on. I mean, and you gotta recognize those things early. There's no sense in getting married, realizing this person is really not what you wanted, and now you really are unhappy because now you're in a situation where you're stuck. So, there's a lot of things I wish I would have done differently, and I wish I would have had the maturity that I do now and understanding that I do now to make better choices and decisions. Therefore, I make these videos to try to get people to think about long and clear about what they're doing and why they're doing it. What they're doing and why they're doing it. And again, let me just also say once again, your internal happiness cannot be driven or your internal happiness cannot come from external forces and sources, particularly a spouse, particularly that. You have to, if you and don't let anybody talk you out of your happiness either. If you're happy just being a housewife, and I don't mean just as in, that's all you can be. If that's what you like nurturing, you like caring, you like giving, you want to be a giver, you want to just cook and just see people happy and feed them, and then do that. And if you're happy, moving up the corporate ladder and making moves and becoming a boss chick, then do that. Okay? I mean, you got to live for you. You only get one life. So you might as well live it to the fullest. So listen, that's my spiel for today. I was very disappointed in continuing to hear that type of thing, and I can understand why a lot of ladies are really, really, mad at the red pill. I think, and I've said before, that I think the red pill space needs to be completely professionalized, in that we make, that the people who have some sense are making these videos and calling themselves that. But when you watch videos like that, and they tell you that your happiness is irrelevant, and then other guys are looking at this, and I didn't even go through the comment section. I just kind of clicked off on it. But when you're looking at that, and you're just seeing this and they're saying this stuff, man. That can't be a healthy mindset to think that a woman ought to just take neglect and abuse and all this kind of stuff. So men, level up. Do the best you can. Be the best version of yourself. Level up. And yeah, so that's it. All right, let me know your thoughts, your opinions. Hit me in the comments section. Much love and peace.